Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right. Either they're living in a affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure what to do. Oh, look at these two. All right. Either they're living in a affair or they're just very shy.
Okay, let's really unpack this. Imagine an ordinary summer night, stadium lights, that buzz you get at a big concert.
Mm-hmm.
We're at a Coldplay show, and the kiss cam is doing its thing, scanning the crowd, landing on couples.
Yeah, the usual routine, sometimes sweet, sometimes a bit awkward.
Exactly. Everyone's kind of laughing, waiting to see who's next. But then the camera lands on two people in the VIP section. Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, a tech company, and Kristin Cabot, his head of HR.
Right, the CEO and HR head.
And what happens next? It's not a kiss. It's a hug. But, it wasn't just any hug.
No, the descriptions were really specific, weren't they?
Yeah, really specific. People called it, intimate, tender, more than just physical, a deep lean-in, a shared emotional frequency. It felt, really private.
Like seeing something you weren't supposed to see almost.
Exactly. Suddenly laid bare for thousands. The crowd definitely reacted. Chris Martin even made some comment about it. And boom, just like that, a simple hug goes viral. Global headline.
It's amazing how fast that happens now.
Insane. And the fallout, swift, severe. Andy Byron resigns as CEO. Kristin Cabot is put on leave.
The professional consequences were immediate.
But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It went way beyond just a corporate scandal, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It became this flashpoint.
Yeah.
A catalyst for these much deeper questions we all grapple with, consciously or not.
Was it just a betrayal? A simple mistake? Or was it a symptom of something, deeper, something complex about modern relationships?
Exactly. Why risk everything?
Mm-hmm.
Career, reputation, family, for a moment like that.
And the big one is monogamy itself.
Right.
Is it fundamentally unnatural? Is the structure we build our lives around actually at odds with, our biology?
That's precisely why this particular hug, this moment, struck such a nerve. It wasn't just about Byron and Cabot.
Yeah.
It was like holding up a mirror. It moved way past workplace ethics.
Yeah.
Those are valid concerns, obviously. The CEO-HR dynamic is problematic.
For sure.
But it triggered this huge conversation about desire, commitment, fidelity, the very essence of our relationships. It made us confront that collective discomfort, When public intimacy hints at something private, maybe forbidden.
Yeah, why do we feel commitment can be so fragile? Why do those hidden desires feel so close to the surface sometimes?
Like they're just waiting for a chance to spill out.
Right. So that's exactly where we're going today. Our mission for this deep dive is to really pull apart those threads. We've gone through, a ton of fascinating sources, stuff exploring the psychology, the biology, the societal pressures that shape how we think about desire, fidelity, modern relationships.
All the big questions.
Yeah. Are using the Coldplay incident as our jumping off point, our lens, but we're going way deeper. We want to pull out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts, and give you a kind of shortcut to understanding this really complex territory.
Because it touches everyone's life, really.
Absolutely. So, get ready. You're about to get a deep dive into what it means to be human, in love, in partnership, and sometimes in betrayal.
The scandal unpacked public intimacy, private fallout, and universal truths.
Okay, so let's go back to that specific moment. The hug itself. We've established not a kiss.
Crucial point. It was a hug.
Yet the reaction was just massive. Why? What was it about this hug?
Well, like you said, the descriptions emphasize that intimacy, the shared emotional frequency. It wasn't a casual, friendly hug.
No, definitely not. It felt like a glimpse into a secret world, a private moment made incredibly public.
And that's unsettling for people. That sudden exposure of something that feels deeply personal.
Right. It wasn't just the physical closeness, it was the emotional weight of it. That's what seemed to make people uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And that perceived intimacy immediately raised flags, didn't it? Not just about their personal lives or their partners.
Which, we don't actually know the details of.
Exactly. We don't. But it immediately became symbolic of the perceived fragility of human commitment.
Okay. So it wasn't just about them, it was about us.
In a way, yes. In this hyper-connected world, 1 second of vulnerability gets captured, amplified, goes global. That hug felt like a breach, not just potentially an ethical breach at work.
Which was a big part of it, obviously. CEO and HR power dynamics.
Huge part. Concerns about ethics, favoritism, liability, absolutely.
Oh.
But the deeper discomfort, I think, came from the sense that our hidden desires, our suppressed feelings, they're never far from the surface.
Waiting to erupt.
Waiting to express themselves. And people saw a reflection, maybe of their own complexities, their own private struggles with temptation or commitment in that very public embrace.
Wow. So 1 second can carry all that weight. The workplace stuff alone was huge. That power imbalance is undeniable.
Undeniable. Any hint of something non-professional there triggers immediate red flags. Corporate governance 101.
But it also felt like a breach of a different contract, right? The relationship contract, fidelity, trust.
Exactly. That's where it transcends the corporate cubicle and hits us right in our collective anxieties about relationships. The public read it as a potential private transgression made public.
It forces you to think about boundaries, doesn't it? How clear are they? How easily can they blur? Especially when maybe those desires are simmering underneath.
And the fact it wasn't a kiss, maybe that made it even more potent, more unsettling.
How so?
Because a kiss is, it's clear, less ambiguous maybe. A hug like that, the kind described, implies this deep, unspoken emotional bond being revealed.
The emotional intimacy being laid bare.
Precisely. That sense of a shared, almost secret world. That's what caused the uproar, I think. It made people look inward and ask, what unspoken things are lurking in my life?
The roots of desire biology, society, and the thrill of the new.
That immediate, almost gut-level reaction makes you wonder, though, why are we drawn to novelty? Why do these desires outside our main relationships surface? It's clearly not just about being bad.
No, it's far more complex. And this is where the sources really start digging deep, looking at everything from evolutionary biology to social conditioning.
Right. So what does biology tell us?
Well, fundamentally, humans are wired to reproduce. That's a core biological drive. Evolutionary theory suggests that, particularly for males, there might be a predisposition to seek novelty in mates.
For genetic diversity, right, spreading the genes.
That's the theory. In our ancestral past, having offspring with varied genetic makeup could increase the chances of the species surviving in different environments or facing different challenges.
Okay, but that needs a huge disclaimer, right? Understanding that doesn't excuse cheating.
Absolutely a critical disclaimer. It does not excuse or condone infidelity. It's about providing context. Understanding these deep-seated inclinations helps us see why, for instance, long-term male fidelity might often require intentional effort.
It's a choice, not just a default setting.
An active, conscious discipline, not passive.
Which brings us to the Coolidge effect. I love this story.
It's a classic anecdote, isn't it? It really illustrates the point.
Yeah, so the story goes, President Coolidge and the First Lady are touring a farm. Mrs. Coolidge sees this rooster mating like crazy. She asks the farmer how often he manages that. He says, dozens of times a day. So she says, kind of pointedly, tell that to Mr. Coolidge.
Aha, okay.
Later, the president hears this. He asks the farmer, same hen every time. Farmer says, oh no, Mr. President, different hen every time. Coolidge apparently just says, tell that to Mrs. Coolidge.
It's a dry wit, but the biological point is real. Animal studies confirm it. Males often show renewed sexual interest with new females, even after they've, lost interest in previous partners. It's that raw instinct for novelty.
Powerful stuff. But we aren't just driven by instinct, obviously.
Obviously not. We live in these complex social and emotional dynamics. Long-term relationships, while offering incredible comfort and stability, can sometimes become sites of routine.
Yeah, the daily grind. Shared bills, chores, predictable patterns.
Exactly. And when that initial spark, that adventure, fades a bit, novelty can provide this potent chemical cocktail. A surge of dopamine, adrenaline.
Dopamine, the reward chemical.
Right. Linked to motivation, pleasure.
Yeah.
So encountering someone new can feel like plugging back into the thrill of the chase, reigniting that excitement.
It's like you love your comfortable old armchair. It's perfect. But then you see this sleek, brand new designer chair. It doesn't mean you hate the old chair, but the newness is tempting. It promises something different.
It's a great analogy. And emotionally, relationships evolve too, right? They shift, often from that intense initial passion to partnership.
Which is healthy. It's maturity.
It is healthy. But for some, a new attraction can feel like it reignites forgotten parts of the self. It offers a jolt of lost aliveness.
Not necessarily about lack of love for the partner, then.
Often not. It can be more about a hunger for lost aliveness within themselves, a feeling of being seen, desired, vibrant again. And then there's the practical side, like in the Byron Cabot case, workplace proximity.
Spending so much time together. High pressure.
Familiarity breeds familiarity. Emotional intimacy can develop subtly, sharing challenges, successes. If there's recognition, respect, admiration.
Especially if maybe that's lacking elsewhere.
Exactly. Those professional and personal boundaries can start to blur almost without you realizing it.
So you've got ancient biology pulling one way, modern life and routine pulling another, and proximity may be creating unexpected sparks. It's a minefield.
It highlights the complexity. It's not an excuse, but it helps us understand the powerful forces at play.
The monogamy question, nature, history, and modern expectations.
Okay, so that tension, that pull between our biology and our modern lives, it naturally leads to this really big, maybe even uncomfortable question. Our sources call it heretical. Is monogamy? Is it actually unnatural for humans?
It's a question that definitely challenges deeply held assumptions, especially in Western cultures. Biologically, the sources are pretty clear. Genuinely lifelong, strictly exclusive monogamy is rare in the animal kingdom.
Even the famous examples like swans.
Even swans and wolves have exceptions. Anthropologist Helen Fisher, who studied this extensively, suggests humans might be more inclined towards serial monogamy.
Serial monogamy, meaning?
Meaning forming strong pair bonds for a significant period, often long enough to raise children through infancy, but then potentially repairing later in life. It suggests our default might not be one partner forever.
Wow, that directly contradicts the one true love forever narrative so many of us absorb.
It does. And if you look beyond biology at history and across different cultures, the picture gets even less straightforwardly monogamous.
Right. It hasn't always been the dominant model everywhere.
Absolutely not. Many cultures practice polygamy, open marriage, or had accepted forms of extramarital relationships. Monogamy becoming dominant, particularly in the West, wasn't necessarily about universal human nature.
So why did it become dominant?
Sources point to very practical societal reasons. Things like inheritance laws, ensuring property passed down predictable lines, religious doctrine, codifying marriage as sacred and exclusive, and social control, creating stable family units for societal order.
So it was about structure, property, control, as much as love.
Arguably, yes. Those factors played a huge role in establishing monogamy as the norm, often the legally enforced norm. So the takeaway isn't that monogamy is bad or doesn't work. It clearly provides immense fulfillment for many, but perhaps it should be viewed as a choice made daily.
Not just a default setting we're locked into.
Exactly. A conscious, ongoing choice requiring effort, especially given those biological and historical undercurrents.
Which makes the expectations we place on modern marriage even more critical.
Yeah.
Esther Perel talks about this, right? How much we ask of one person now.
She argues our expectations are unprecedented, totally unique in human history. We expect our one partner to be our everything.
Like, list them off.
Okay. Best friend, confidant, passionate lover, co-parent, therapist, intellectual equal, financial partner, life companion. The list goes on.
That is an absolutely colossal burden for one person to carry.
It's immense. Historically, those needs, emotional support, intellectual stimulation, social connection, even practical help would be met by a whole community. Your village, extended family, close friends, religious group.
Not all piled onto your spouse.
Precisely. We've funneled all these deep, varied human needs into this one relationship. And Perel suggests this intense pressure creates an environment where, frankly, transgression becomes statistically likely.
Because the odds of one person perfectly fulfilling all those roles all the time are slim.
Extremely slim. When the demands are that high, the chances of some needs going unmet or the relationship buckling under the strain, they just increase dramatically. Again, not an excuse for betrayal.
No, but it's crucial context.
It provides a more empathetic lens. It shows the unique, often contradictory pressures baked into modern marriage that our ancestors just didn't face. How can one relationship possibly bear all that weight? It raises a fundamental question about the sustainability of the model itself, at least as currently idealized.
Deeper instincts, seeking improvement and validation.
So if the expectations are sky high and biology pulls towards novelty, what other sort of deeper instincts are driving attraction and maybe infidelity? Our sources mention this evolutionary drive to maximize reproductive success for both men and women.
That's right. It's a fundamental evolutionary principle. For men, as we discussed, that might mean seeking multiple partners historically to increase the odds of passing on genes.
Okay.
For women, it could manifest as an unconscious drive to seek the best genetic option for potential offspring, ensuring their survival and strength. Again, this isn't usually conscious decision-making today.
It's a deeper subconscious programming.
Exactly, a relic of our evolutionary past. And say it again, this doesn't make cheating inevitable or okay.
Right, got it. Effort, intention, honesty are key.
It underscores that fidelity is often more about those conscious choices, effort, intention, honesty, than it is about just following instinct. Instinct might pull you elsewhere. Commitment requires active work.
And it really highlights that mismatch. Ancient brains, modern society.
Totally. Our brains evolved for survival in small tribes where attraction might lead to reproduction without scandal. Now, it leads to HR nightmares and global headlines.
Like the Coldplay hug.
Precisely. The consequences are vastly different. And this drive isn't just purely sexual either. The sources suggest it's broader. It's about improving one's reproductive odds in a more holistic sense.
Meaning, like seeking partners perceived as better intellectually.
Emotionally.
Yes, intellectually, emotionally, maybe even in terms of perceived status or resources. It's about seeking a partner who seems advantageous overall. But what's really fascinating is how this connects to deeper psychological needs.
It's also deeply tied to validation, social signaling, and power. Think about it. Being desired by someone new, especially someone attractive or high status, provides a powerful ego boost.
Makes you feel good about yourself.
Absolutely. It reinforces your sense of relevance in the tribe, your value, your attractiveness. It confirms you still matter, you're still desirable. It's a powerful form of validation.
So it's not just about sex or even love. It can be about status, feeling relevant, proving something to yourself.
Exactly. It taps into that fundamental human need to feel significant, seen, and wanted. This raises an important question. What need is really being met when someone seeks that outside connection? Is it validation, recognition, a sense of power?
Needs that maybe aren't being met within the primary relationship or even within their own sense of self.
Potentially, yes. That feeling of being truly seen, desired anew can be incredibly potent, especially if routine has dulled that feeling in a long-term partnership. It's a deep psychological yearning.
The controversial angle, justification, and transformation.
All right, now we get into some really tricky territory. I mean, this next idea it's controversial. Our sources actually bring up the claim that sometimes an affair can, believe it or not, reawaken someone.
It's a challenging concept.
The idea being that the danger, excitement, emotional charge of it all could potentially lead to personal growth, renewed energy, even professional excellence. It sounds counterintuitive, but given the harm involved.
It is deeply counterintuitive and ethically complex, to say the least. It enters a serious gray area. Because on one hand, undeniably, cheating involves betrayal. It breaks agreements, shatters trust, causes immense pain. That's the reality.
I'm minimizing that.
Absolutely not. Right. But the sources also push us to consider the nature of those agreements that were broken. Were they explicit? Were they understood? Or were they unspoken, maybe assumed? Had they become stale, outdated, no longer reflecting who the people involved had become?
So if the foundation was already shaky or the rules weren't clear or hadn't been revisited, does that change the moral calculation?
It doesn't excuse the cheating, but it asks us to look at the context more deeply. Were needs being ignored? Was the relationship already in crisis? Just maybe a silent one? It challenges us to move beyond simple condemnation.
Okay. Still not saying it's good, but urging a look at the whole picture.
Exactly. And then there's the even more provocative idea that some relationships can actually thrive after betrayal.
Thrive? How? Not because of it, surely.
No, not because of it, but potentially through it. The idea is that the rupture creates space for truth.
A crisis forces honesty.
Sometimes, yes. A devastating event like infidelity can force a couple to confront painful realities, unspoken resentments, deep-seated issues they've maybe been avoiding for years.
Things swept under the rug.
All of it comes out. It can be a brutal, agonizing catalyst. But if both partners engage with courage, honesty, and a real commitment to understanding, it can lead to transformation, either rebuilding on a truer foundation or finding clarity to separate more honestly.
So the real question shifts then. It's less, is cheating wrong? Which, most would say yes.
Right. The deeper question becomes, are we having honest conversations about what we truly want, need, and expect from our relationships?
Before it gets to the crisis point.
Ideally, yes. It shifts the focus to proactive relational health, communication, self-awareness, rather than just reacting after the damage is done. What's fascinating here is that sometimes only a major rupture forces that level of terrifying honesty.
The thrill and its purpose, from chase to sustained eroticism.
Okay, so if an affair can sometimes paradoxically force a kind of reawakening or honesty, what is it about that thrill of the chase that's so powerful? I'd sort of say it's often not just about sex, it's about vitality.
Yeah, vitality is a great word for it. And the neurobiology is fascinating. The challenge of courtship activates the brain's reward system powerfully.
How so? What's going on in the brain?
Think about the elements: the risk, the secrecy, the uncertainty, will they like me back? The intense desire. All of that floods the brain with chemicals like dopamine. It creates this feeling of being intensely alive.
Right, everything is heightened, sharper focus.
Exactly. In a life that can feel mundane, routine, the pursuit offers this potent reminder. You still matter. You're still wanted. You can still play the game. It's a massive boost to your sense of self, your desirability.
It's like mainlining adrenaline and validation.
Pretty much. Now, obviously, this thrill has a cost. Often a devastating one. Broken trust, families torn apart.
The consequences are huge.
Huge. But psychologically, for the person experiencing it, it is fulfilling a purpose, however destructive it might be overall. It's scratching an itch for excitement, adventure, feeling truly alive that they perceive as missing.
Which leads to the absolute core question, doesn't it? Can you get that thrill, that vitality inside a committed long-term relationship?
That really is the million-dollar question. Can we redirect that energy?
Is it possible to keep that spark, that aliveness, going with the person you've chosen instead of seeking it elsewhere?
The sources say yes, absolutely. It is possible to cultivate eroticism and aliveness in long-term love. But, and this is a big but, it requires imagination, vulnerability, and space.
Okay, unpack that. Imagination, vulnerability, space.
It means it doesn't just happen automatically. You have to actively work at it. Imagination to keep things fresh, try new things, maintain mystery. Vulnerability to share your real desires, fantasies, and insecurities without fear of judgment. And space, both literal space for yourselves and metaphorical space for the relationship to breathe and evolve, not feel suffocatingly predictable.
So it's about consciously nurturing playfulness, surprise, open communication about desire.
Yes. Creating an environment where both partners feel safe and excited to explore their full selves together. Without those active ingredients, imagination, vulnerability, space, that deep human craving for excitement and aliveness often gets, well, outsourced, sought elsewhere.
Leading right back to the problems we started with.
Exactly. It's about choosing together to keep the relationship dynamic, not letting it settle into a comfortable rut where the spark eventually dies from neglect. Both partners have to be invested in keeping that vitality alive within the relationship.
Excitement, aliveness, and longevity.
This focus on vitality and aliveness is really powerful. It seems to go beyond just relationships into a fundamental human need, and sources even suggest, maybe surprisingly, that embracing excitement can actually be good for us long term.
Yeah, there's some interesting research there. Studies indicate that novelty, calculated risk, and excitement, notice the word calculated, not reckless, can stimulate brain activity, boost dopamine, and even improve overall mental health.
So a bit of manageable chaos is better than pure, dull stability.
That's the provocative argument, that a life filled with curiosity, attraction, and occasional manageable chaos might actually be more sustainable and fulfilling in the long run than a life that's completely predictable and devoid of stimulation. It challenges that idea that perfect calm equals perfect well-being.
It suggests we have a deeper hunger, maybe, than just for safety or comfort.
Precisely. The sources put it really well. People don't always seek happiness. They seek aliveness.
Happiness versus aliveness. What's the difference there?
Happiness can be seen as more of a temporary state, an emotion. Aliveness is deeper. It's that feeling of being fully engaged, vibrant, plugged into the world, having purpose, feeling your own vitality.
Like being fully switched on.
Exactly. Think about flow states, when you're totally absorbed in something creative or challenging, or passion projects that light you up. The sources call things like flirtation, art, moments of perceived danger. Again, likely managed danger. The nutrients of a long, energized life.
Nutrients. I like that. Things that feed your soul, keep your brain buzzing.
Yes, they keep us stimulated, engaged, curious. They make life feel rich and meaningful. So the idea is to consciously seek out and integrate these nutrients into your life, whether it's through your relationship, hobbies, learning, adventure, to maintain that essential sense of vibrancy.
Love a cage or a catalyst.
Okay, all this talk about desire, commitment, aliveness. It forces us to confront a really fundamental question about love itself. Is love ultimately about possession or liberation? Locking someone down or setting them free?
That dichotomy really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How do we conceptualize our most intimate bonds? The sources lay out two very different models.
What are they?
On one side, you have love as a container for growth, experimentation, and freedom.
Okay, sounds good.
It's a relationship where both people feel safe, supported, encouraged to be their authentic selves, to evolve, even to make mistakes, knowing they're loved. It nurtures individuality. It's expansive.
The ideal, right? A relationship that helps you become more yourself.
That's the goal for many. But the contrast is stark. The other model is love as a prison of jealousy, expectation, and control.
Ugh, yeah. We've all seen or maybe experienced versions of that.
Right, where partners feel trapped, stifled by rules, demands, insecurity, the need to constantly monitor each other. It often comes from fear of loss, fear of inadequacy, but it kills authenticity. It breeds resentment, secrecy, suffocation.
It shrinks your world instead of expanding it.
Exactly, and the sources make a powerful argument here. True love may not be about locking each other down. It may be about trusting the other enough to choose you every day.
Wow. That shifts everything from obligation to active, ongoing choice.
It moves away from ownership towards trust. Trusting that your partner wants to be with you, not because they have to be or because they're afraid to leave, but because they genuinely choose the connection you share day after day.
That takes incredible courage, though, on both sides.
Yeah.
To offer that trust and to live up to it. To let go of control.
Immense courage, yes, and radical honesty. It requires being incredibly upfront about needs, desires, vulnerabilities, boundaries, building the relationship on transparency, not assumptions or unspoken rules.
It acknowledges people aren't property.
Fundamentally, it suggests that the strongest, most resilient, most fulfilling love flourishes not in constraint, but in freedom, autonomy, and that deep mutual trust. It's where you feel both deeply connected and fully free.
The enduring significance of just a hug.
So let's bring it back one last time to where we started, the Coldplay concert. That hug, we've dissected it from so many angles. It was just a hug. And yet
clearly so much more. It became a symbol, a really potent one.
a symbol of what, exactly?
Of that core human contradiction we keep bumping up against. Our deep desire for both stability and excitement. Our yearning for both loyalty and freedom.
The tension between modern ideals of romance and those older, messier instincts.
Perfectly encapsulated in that one moment. It resonated because it mirrored those internal conflicts so many people wrestle with privately.
And the huge public reaction, the judgment. Sources say it was less about just judging them and more about us.
Right.
About projection.
Largely, yes. When people reacted so strongly, they weren't just reacting to Byron and Cabot. They were reacting to what that moment stirred up inside themselves.
Like seeing their own stuff reflected back.
Exactly. Their own temptations, their own past betrayals, their own regrets, their own unfulfilled yearnings. That hug became this uncomfortable mirror, forcing a kind of collective self-reflection.
Triggering those hard questions.
Questions like, would I do that? Have I wanted to? What does commitment really mean to me anyway? The outrage wasn't just moral indignation. It was tangled up with personal vulnerability, unmet desires, fears about trust.
It touched a universal nerve about how complicated relationships really are.
It forced a societal pause, made us confront our often unexamined beliefs about fidelity, desire, and where the lines are drawn. It wasn't just a scandal. It was a catalyst for introspection, however uncomfortable.
Gender and desire equality and judgment.
Okay, one more crucial layer here. Gender. Are men and women really equal in love and desire? Because historically, the judgment, especially around infidelity, has been wildly different.
It's a critical question. Biologically, sure, there are different reproductive strategies that likely shape some initial instincts differently, but the sources emphasize that emotionally we are converging, especially now.
How so? What's driving that convergence?
Well, think about the massive shifts in women's roles. Women are pursuing careers, leading companies, achieving economic independence at unprecedented rates. They initiate divorce more often than men now.
So, more agency, more autonomy.
Exactly. Which means women are increasingly expressing their desires, needs, and ambitions professionally, personally, romantically, in ways that were simply not possible or socially acceptable for much of history. They're seeking fulfillment in all areas, just like men.
Makes total sense. If you have the freedom and power, you're more likely to act on your desires. But the judgment. Has society caught up? Do we judge men and women the same way for, say, cheating?
That's the sticking point. The sources are clear. Not yet. While women absolutely experience desire just as intensely as men, society has historically aggressively policed their expression of it.
The double standard.
Absolutely. There's a long ingrained history of judging female infidelity far more harshly. Harsher labels, more severe social consequences. So while we might be approaching equality in spirit and in opportunity, there's still not yet equality in how they are judged for infidelity or desire.
That's a really important and kind of depressing point. These biases run deep.
They do. It raises that important question about the prejudices still embedded in our culture, our media, even our private conversations about relationships. We've got work to do there.
Definitely. And related to female desire, sources ask this specific question. Do women desire married men? Is that a thing?
Psychology suggests yes sometimes, and the reasons are quite interesting, often subconscious.
Okay, look what?
One key concept is mate copying. It's from evolutionary psychology. The idea is if a woman sees that a man is already desired or chosen by another woman, he can actually become more attractive to her.
Seriously, like he's been pre-approved.
Kind of. It acts as social validation. It subconsciously signals that he likely possesses desirable qualities, stability, loyalty, resources, because someone else has already vetted him.
Wow. That flips the script. That's a really surprising fact.
It is counterintuitive, isn't it? Plus, married men might simply be perceived as more stable, established, or successful just by virtue of having built a life. And then, for some, there's the allure of the forbidden aspect.
The thrill of the taboo.
Right. That can fuel erotic imagination, tap into that pursuit of excitement and danger we talked about. Again, this absolutely doesn't mean all women want unavailable men. Desire is way too complex for that.
Of course.
But it highlights that attraction is far more complex and nuanced than culture often allows us to admit. It challenges those simple, often judgmental narratives. Outro.
Wow, okay. We have covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from biology to psychology, history to modern expectations. That Coldplay hug really opened up a universe of complexity around desire, fidelity, and love.
It really did. It shows how interconnected these things are.
So, after exploring all this, what's the takeaway? What does this all mean for you, for us trying to navigate our own relationships?
Well, maybe the biggest takeaway is that it's time to shift the conversation, to move beyond just asking, should people cheat, which is a bit simplistic, right? And focus on fostering a new conversation.
A new conversation about what?
About redefining relationships beyond outdated molds, recognizing that the old rules or assumptions might not fit our modern lives or complex needs. It means creating space for honesty about desire. Real honesty.
That sounds hard, but necessary.
Absolutely necessary. Honesty with ourselves about what we truly want and need, and honesty with our partners, creating a space where vulnerability isn't punished. It takes immense courage.
And acknowledging that fidelity isn't automatic. It's not the default state.
Exactly. Understanding that fidelity is not default, it's discipline. It's an active, conscious choice made day after day. It requires effort, attention, communication, boundary setting.
And fundamentally, realizing that love isn't about owning someone.
Right. Recognizing that love is not control. It's ideally about liberation, growth, trust. It's an invitation, really, an invitation to show up with more presence, more courage, more truth in our most important connections.
It's fascinating, isn't it, that this whole deep exploration, all these profound ideas were sparked by one very public, very human moment of vulnerability.
It shows how powerful those moments can be.
And it leaves us with a final thought, maybe. Perhaps the deepest truths about commitment, desire, what aliveness really means. Maybe they can emerge from the most unexpected places, even a hug at a Coldplay concert. It might just lead to profound understanding if we're willing to look.
This raises an important question for each of us, really. How willing are you to engage in these difficult, maybe uncomfortable, but truly essential conversations within your own life and within your own relationships?